In a rare and deeply emotional moment, Kelly Ripa, actress, television host, and longtime wife of fellow broadcaster Mark Consuelos, took the stage at the 92nd Street Y in New York City during a charity gala celebrating women in entertainment. The evening was meant to be joyful, a luminous gathering honoring creativity, perseverance, and female voice. Yet, as Kelly began to speak, her tone shifted. The room seemed to lean forward. Her words weren't about celebrity or fame. They were about strength, endurance, and the quiet cost of a shared life lived under a public lens. She never mentioned Mark by name, but her message carried unmistakable weight. "Sometimes," she said softly, "the hardest part of love isn't letting go. It's learning how to hold on differently, even when everything around you starts to change." For a few seconds, there was silence. Everyone in the audience, actors, journalists, network executives, seemed to stop breathing. They knew what she was referring to. After months of quiet speculation about the strain of balancing Live with Kelly and Mark with family and private life, Kelly had just spoken her truth, not in sadness, but in grace. For nearly 3 decades, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos have been one of America's most admired couples. Married since 1996, their story has always seemed unshakable, a partnership grounded in humor, passion, and a mutual respect that transcended fame. While Kelly became one of the most recognizable faces on daytime television, Mark balanced his acting career with his role as her co-host and husband. Their chemistry, both on and off-screen, became part of the show's heartbeat. They were to many a symbol of balance. But beneath the laughter, there were challenges, the kind that arrive quietly, with time, growth, and the relentless pace of modern fame. According to those close to the couple, Kelly's words that evening were not improvised. They were intentional, a reflection from a woman who has spent decades performing, mothering, and loving in the public eye. Her message, though poetic, revealed an ache just beneath the surface. One friend later told People magazine, "Kelly's always been honest, but that night she wasn't performing, she was reflecting. It wasn't about drama, it was about truth." Meanwhile, Mark continued to appear on Live with his usual warmth and charm. To the audience, nothing seemed amiss. But after Kelly's heartfelt remarks, social media lit up with speculation. Were they okay? Was the intensity of their work together, living, parenting, and co-hosting side by side, beginning to take its toll? Within hours, clips from Kelly's speech spread across Instagram and TikTok. Fans filled comment sections with messages of empathy. They've been through so much together. You can hear her heart between the lines. Mark always speaks so lovingly of her. They'll be fine. Those who know Mark personally said he was deeply moved by Kelly's words. He hadn't expected her to speak so candidly, but rather than frustration, his reaction was one of quiet reflection. A close family friend revealed that he watched a recording of the speech that same night. He didn't say much, the friend shared. He just sat there for a long time. Then he said, "She's right. Love changes shape sometimes." It wasn't regret. It wasn't a confession. It was an acknowledgement of how long marriages evolve, bend, and rediscover themselves. Their story began long before talk shows and red carpets. In the mid-1990s, Mark and Kelly met on the set of All My Children. He was the charming newcomer. She was already a star. Their connection was instant. "She made me laugh before we even rehearsed our lines," Mark once said in an interview. "I knew she was the one." They eloped in 1996. No publicity, no fanfare, just 2 young actors in love. Over the years, they built a family grounded not in glamour, but in warmth. Their 3 children, Michael, Lola, and Joaquin, became their center. Kelly often joked on air about their perfectly imperfect family life, while Mark credited her with keeping everything real. "Kelly's my compass," he once told Good Morning America. "She keeps us steady." But as their careers expanded, the balance became harder to maintain. Live demanded early mornings and public energy. Mark's acting roles often took him to different cities. According to friends, this gradual distance, not conflict, was the quiet challenge they faced. "They adore each other," one longtime friend said. "But living and working together can blur the lines. It's easy to lose the us when everything becomes we." When Kelly spoke that night, she wasn't confessing trouble. She was honoring the evolution of long love, how it transforms with age, how it softens, and how sometimes 2 people must learn to stand beside each other differently. "There are moments," she said, "when love doesn't fade, it transforms. It stops being about needing someone right beside you, and starts being about wanting them to find peace wherever they are." Her words rippled across social media, raw, elegant, and deeply human. Many noted how her quiet candor echoed that of women like Amal Clooney or Michelle Obama, poised reflections that carried both strength and vulnerability. By morning, headlines filled entertainment sites. Kelly Ripa's emotional speech on love and change stunned audience. Is Kelly opening up about her marriage to Mark Consuelos? But those who truly knew them understood the truth. There was no scandal, no unraveling, just 2 people navigating the complex intersections of love, fame, and family, with immense respect for each other. The next morning, Mark was back on set. He smiled, greeted the audience, and carried on with his signature ease. But when Kelly turned to him on air with one of her knowing glances, the tenderness between them was unmistakable. Later that week, during a segment on long-term relationships, Mark paused before saying, "Marriage isn't about perfection. It's about evolution. You have to keep choosing each other even when the story changes." It was subtle, but the message was clear. Behind the scenes, friends said they'd taken time to slow down, to breathe, to reconnect outside of cameras and scripts. No statements, no denials, just presence. Because sometimes the most powerful response isn't spoken loudly. It's lived quietly. And for Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, that quiet, filled with respect, humor, and enduring affection, spoke louder than any headline ever could.